All right, so hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Sohaib, and I am working as a BI consultant at BADRI. And I have my colleague Haneen joining me here today, who is also into BI consulting and specializes in Qlik Sense. I would like to thank you all for joining us today, as this is going to be a very informative session. We have planned this series of webinar, which is Qlik Sense BI 101 for business users. So today we are holding our last session of this webinar series. We hope you will find it informative and fruitful, just like the previous ones. So without further ado, let's start today's session. All right, so our agenda for today is Qlik storytelling and Qlik alerts. We will leave you some time at the end for questions in our Q&A session. It would be quite interactive. But if you do have any questions during this course session, you can feel free to pop up in the chat box, and we will do our best to answer those questions for you. So everyone, we will begin with a quick recap of our previous sessions. So in our first session, let's see what we have discussed. We have discussed basically the data and its types. So what is data? Data are facts or information that can be used for reporting, calculations, planning, or analysis. Types of data that we have discussed were continuous, categorical, and discrete data. So continuous data is data that can take any value, for example, height or weight. Height or weight may vary from one person to another. Then categorical data. Categorical data is data that are fixed values, for example, gender or different types of marketing campaigns within a company, line of businesses, charts of accounts, etc., etc. While discrete data can be both continuous and categorical, and it has specific values such as names of employees, quantities, etc., etc. So why we have discussed these types of data? Basically, it helps us to choose suitable visualization for the data. After this, we have discussed the chart types. So let's take a quick look at these visualization charts. We have also shared these through emails in our first webinar. So this chart is essentially a tool to assist you as a user and pick a suitable visualization for the purpose of analysis. It shows 4 categories of chart types, which is comparison, relationship, distribution, and composition of the data. We also went through the 5 pitfalls of visualization that we need to avoid when we are designing a dashboard. The first one being use of minimal colors from the color gamut, ideally 1 or 2, because wrong colors can result in confusion and misinterpretation. Then comes misuse of pie chart. So too much details leaves you and your audience feeling unsatisfied and confused. Too much information defeats the purpose of clarity. So always opt for minimum visualization on the page. So just because a visualization is beautiful doesn't mean it's effective. Effective visualization enhances effective communications. All right, so great visualization start with great data. So if your visualization reveals unexpected results, it may be the victim of bad data. This was what we have learned in our first session. Now let's recall our second session. In this second session, we have explained how we can take advantage of advanced visualization instead of using same basic ones every time. We have also discussed incredible features of Insight Advisor and what if analysis and Qlik Sense. So let's review these topics as well before we begin with today's session. For next level visualization, we started off with slope or bump chart. These charts are typically used when we are dealing with the ranking in our data sets or databases. These are substitute of bar charts, whether horizontal or vertical. Next was calendar heat map or stacked area chart. We covered that these can be used instead of line graph to display change over time functionalities. Then we explored Mako or tree map chart, which is used to portray part to whole functionality and can be used as an alternative to a pie chart. We also explained that if you need to show the correlation functionality in your data, then you can opt for a heat map or a grid map. Both are excellent choices as an alternative to scatter plot. Lastly, we saw how box plot or a distribution plot can easily replace this histogram in order to deal with distribution functionality. Next, we went through conversational analytics. We discussed that if you're finding it difficult to choose the right visualization to represent your data, you can use the Insight Advisor in Qlik Sense, which is basically your intelligent AI assistant. It enhances the ability to gain insight and drive business decisions across the analytic lifecycle. You just need to type in or use the Microsoft microphone button to directly speak your question, and it will provide you with a variety of visualization. You can then choose whichever chart you like to have it and add it to your sheets. So there are two technologies used in Insight Advisor, which is NLP, natural language processing, and NLG, natural language generation. As shown here on the slide, the question which is asked to Qlik Sense is part of NLP, and the result that is displayed on the chart on the right side offered by Qlik Sense is NLG. So as the last topic of second webinar, which we discussed, were what if analysis. Let's review it with a simple example. So basically, what if analysis is implemented using sliders and input boxes. In what if analysis, users can adjust the value of variables and see the effect on the data set in the chart. So in this particular example, we assume that an insurance company want to increase the premium for each vehicle type to attain X number of gross written premium. However, they need to evaluate the result of the increasing premium before they could go ahead with the actual increase. So this is the scenario. For sedan, they want to increase up to 3 to 5%. For 4x4, they want to increase up to 2 to 4%. For pickup, they want to increase up to 2 to 3%. As for heavy vehicle, they don't want to increase the premium. So by considering these different scenarios, the company was able to determine the increase of premium by each vehicle type in order to minimize the loss ratio through what if analysis. All right, so this is it from the recap and also from my side. I will be handing over to this presentation to Hani. She will take you through the today's agenda.
Thank you so much, Suhaib. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third and the last session of this webinar. For today, I'll be taking you through the data storytelling and then the clicks and alerts. So let's begin. As you must have had a very brief recap that my colleague just gave you on the basics of visualizations, and we have already very clearly established what a vital role visualization plays. It lets you comprehend vast amount of data immediately and in a better way. It also helps to understand the data better to measure its impact on the business and communicates the insights visually to the audience, hence aiding them in making data-driven decisions. These visualizations also comes in handy when you are working with data storytelling. It aids in creating and telling captivating data stories to the audience and communicate meaningful information effectively. Let's discuss data storytelling further. So, data storytelling is basically the ability to efficiently communicate insights from a data set using narratives and visualizations. It can be used to put data insights into context and inspire actions from your audience. There are mainly three key components to data storytelling. The first one is your data. Thorough analysis of accurate and complete data serves as the foundation of your data story. Analyzing data using descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analysis can enable you to understand its full picture. Descriptive analytics tells you what happens in the past. Diagnostic helps you understand why something happened in the past. Predictive analytics predicts what is most likely to happen in the future, and prescriptive analytics recommends actions that you can take to affect those outcomes. With these analytics, you can have a deeper understanding of your data and what aspects it represents. Coming towards the second key component, it's the narrative. It is your verbal or written narrative, also called a storyline. It is used to communicate insights gathered from the data, the context surrounding it, and actions you recommend and aim to inspire in your audience. Lastly, visualizations. Visual illustrations of your data and narrative can be useful for communicating its story clearly and memorably. These can be the charts, the graphs, diagrams, pictures, or even videos. Data storytelling can be used internally, for instance, to communicate the need for product improvements based on user data, or externally, for instance, to create a compelling case for buying your product to potential customers. Moving on, let's see why we use data storytelling. The goal of a data storytelling is a way to entertain on a given subject matter. The reason would be simple: to illuminate all types of information, everything that you have on your hand. Secondly, the goal of a data storytelling is conveying the information using effective visualizations, as we have focused so much on our previous webinars as well, and avoiding the pitfalls that we discussed. For example, cluttering your dashboards. Too much information could confuse your audience. Thirdly, we need to develop a connection with the audience, and that is the main goal of the data storytelling. It helps better connect with the data and information, and it is more easier for your audience to understand the problems at hand or what decisions to make. The story should be designed to highlight important information to make data-informed and inspired decisions. Moving forward, Essentially, the main question is, how can we design an effective storytelling? So the question is answered with 3 simple U's. The first one is understanding the data. The second is understanding the business need. And the third is understanding the audience. Let's dig into the details of each U. The first U is understanding your data. To design an effective story, we must familiarize ourselves with the key elements of understanding the data. What is your data tells? What is your data is all about? Where is the data coming from? How your data sources work and how the data is being collected. Understanding your data is like understanding the ingredients of your story. The second U of data storytelling is understanding the business question. In this U, we need everyone to truly get to the bottom of the business question they are trying to resolve. At times, when we try to answer a business question with a given data set, the individuals who are asking the questions do not fully understand what they would like to see or could not explain it clearly. So it's essential to dig deep and ask questions to ensure the individual requesting the analysis and insights helping to understand what they are actually looking for. The second U allows us to travel to the last U of the data storytelling, understand the audience. It allows you to approach data storytelling from 2 strong and powerful positions. First, we will more effectively understand what exactly is being asked. And second, we will understand how we should position the stories we want to share. Understanding if you are talking to a group of analysts, business users, or speaking to the executive suite will determine a lot about your story. When we understand what is going on with our audience and who is asking for what, plus understand who the intended story and audiences are, it can help to script and shape our overall understanding of how to best present the information and ensure that you understand your audience and manage their expectations. Other way of looking at it is determining who exactly is the intended audience. If you're speaking to your executive suite, they're only concerned with the overall picture rather than a detailed, in-depth analysis. Similarly, if you're addressing to people from operations or finances, they would very well be more interested in the details and nitty-gritties and the factors affecting the big picture. Knowing that you understand the intended audience will ensure that you put a strong story in front of them, enabling them to understand what has happened and why you are putting up this story together the way you did. Let's look into some tips of telling compelling stories with data, which will help your audience connect better with your stories. The first tip is simplicity. The world of data, statistics, and analytics can be very complicated and complex. When individuals start to discuss these data-driven analysis, it becomes very hard to stay focused, understand, and stay engaged. Simplicity ensures that individuals do not get caught up in the complexity of data analytics, losing sight of the meaning and intent of the story. So always use simple and basic words. Keep the message short and brief, especially when dealing with the executive suite. Get to the point quickly and intelligently. The second tip we want to convey is to build a connection between the audience and the data through your story. This connection allows each individual and the entire audience to feel the data is personal and their own. They can interact with the data and understand the problems that they might have overlooked previously. How is it associated to the goals, visions, or ideas of those who are in the audience? And finally, show how it will benefit and make an impact in everyone's decision making and insight driving power. The third tip is obviously how to utilize data visualizations. Visualizations can assist the audience in understanding the context of the story. Images are easier to understand than facts and figures. It ties directly back into the first step. It helps in simplifying the data for the audience. Make sure that you use the right visualizations and avoid the pitfalls that we discussed briefly earlier in the recap and our previous seminars as well. Webinars, actually. Fourth tip is to ensure that you provide a context to your data story. A context is the background where the meaning comes from in terms of which of the data can be fully understood. Remember the 3 U's. We discuss the 3 U's, and we will be discussing within the story about the data you used and why you chose data sets. Make sure you know the business questions and you are answering it clearly and precisely. Finally, know your audience and how will they receive the message so you can paint the picture the best possible way. Let's switch from the presentation to the demonstration. We have one designed right here in our Qlik Sense application for your convenience. Please bear with me while I open the application for the demo. All right. So here is our data story that we have developed with our plug and play insurance dashboards on Qlik Sense. Qlik Sense storytelling tab is very similar to that of a PowerPoint presentation, with the addition to the snapshots of charts taken from the Sense application. Another cool thing about these stories are that they keep updating alongside the dashboard itself whenever a reload occurs. So you don't have to manually update it every time new data pours in. Here we have already developed a story where we are focusing on the idea of minimizing loss ratio for a company. We will also be demonstrating how you can create one for yourself. We have kept the storytelling tips in mind. As you can see, we haven't crowded our story with visualizations. Instead, we have picked the minimum number of visuals to keep the story simple and easier to comprehend. Let's discover what this story has to offer. On your screens, you can see the loss ratios for TP and comprehensive. TP is your third party. Comparing the two, it's obvious that the loss ratio coming from the TP is higher than that of that comprehensive. Looking at the pie chart below, you may observe that TP is only contributing 25% of the business, and yet we saw a higher percentage of loss ratio. This is where we will be starting our story and narrowing it down step by step in order to reach a resolution. Let's dig deep and look at the exposure. There is a clear observation that we have a higher exposure for sedans in comparisons to 4x4 pickups, buses, and others, as you can see in the line and bar graph that we have represented. So keeping it concise, we will target the sedans from now on and drill further into the problem. Next, we have loss ratio by product type. As you can see, we have two product types in front of us in the tabular data, corporate and retail. We have a history from 2018 to 2021 representing the loss ratio for each product. As you can see, we have a 96% loss ratio for retail. That means this is the segment we will be focusing on from now onwards, and we will be narrowing it down to retail for sedans. The next visualization in front of you is the loss ratio versus exposure. As you can see, we have broken it down to each broker, and the loss ratio for broker 2, 3, and 5 are the highest. But the exposure of broker 2 is more as compared to broker number 3 and 5. So we will be focusing on broker number 2. As for burning cost, you can see in our tabular data set that we have a higher number for Honda, Ford, and Kia. This representation is for broker number 2's car make. So we will be narrowing down the burning cost element, which is frequency and severity. We can see the frequency of all the car makes. The frequency is more or less the same for each type, each make. So let's look into the severity element. All right. For severity, we have a higher ratio for Ford and Kia, and also for Honda. Now, we can conclude by this representations of frequency and severity, even though frequency wasn't very much affecting, but the severity is higher for Ford, Honda, and Kia. So we have concluded that we need to ask our broker number 2 to discontinue with the companies, that is Ford, Honda, and Kia, as they are bringing in more loss ratio in comparison to the others. As you can see, we have kept the simplicity and we haven't crowded our storytelling. And you can also have seen, according to our story, that the problem we have narrowed down to the broker number 2 and the vehicle make type. So this was just an example of how you can represent a story or build a story, and you can help reach your audience making a data-driven decisions. You can always create your own as well, and you can help your audiences make the same decisions, a better one for the company. Moving on towards intelligent Qlik Sense. This is our next topic for today. We will also be showing you a demonstration for Qlik Alerts, how they work on the SaaS, that is SaaS platform. Qlik alerting is fully data-driven, which means alerts are not tied to any specific visualization. Instead, it looks at all the data and all the time. Qlik alerting delivers sophisticated, data-driven alerts that helps users proactively monitor their businesses and take informed decisions timely. It triggers the set alerts directly from Qlik Sense, so you can always know what's happening and you can respond quickly when things change. Using Qlik alerting, Qlik Sense users can be immediately notified when needed, reducing the dashboard fatigue, increasing the analytics adoption, and the driving proactive action based on insights. Alerting supports both self-service and centrally managed alerting. Users can easily create personalized alerts using an integrated user interface in Qlik Sense, and administrators can centrally define and manage data alerts, distributing them to a large number of groups. Let's go through the benefits of Qlik Alerts. Number 1 on your screens is more proactive management action. We have already covered that by Qlik alerting, organizations can more proactively drive intelligent, timely actions. It supports management by exception, which means looking at the financial and operational aspects of any business enterprise, pointing out the significant differences between the expected and budgeted amounts. It happens when the company controller alerts the management of expenses that are beyond the desired amounts. Moreover, Qlik alerting also notifies users of potential issues when they arise and boost adoption and value by driving people directly to the visual analytics for further exploration. Then comes the sophisticated data-driven alerts. With Qlik alerting, Users and organizations can create powerful data-driven alerts with complex criteria. Advanced statistical calculations and trending helps you proactively identify outliers and anomalies that could be missed if you are relying solely on the dashboards. Then we have self-service and centralized insights. We discussed earlier that Qlik alerting provides both self-service and centrally managed alerting, right? This supports both pull and push models, allowing organizations to either centralize or federate alert creation based on their preferences. Through a simple interface in Qlik Sense, users can easily set up alerts for themselves based on the data they select and the criteria they create, which we will be demonstrating soon for better understanding. At the same time, administrators can define and manage sophisticated centralized data and system alerts and distribute them to large groups. Alerts can be scheduled or run while Qlik Sense reloads the data and delivered through multiple channels, including email and the Qlik Alerting mobile app. Organizations can create custom email templates for specific alerts to customize information, look, and feel. And the Qlik Alerting module, the mobile app, is available for iOS and Android, with support for push notifications and direct linking to the Qlik Sense mobile application for further exploration on the go. Next up is drive adoption and action. With Qlik alerting, organizations can manage by exception and reduce dashboard fatigue, increasing the adoption and value of the analytics by combining proactive monitoring and in-context linking. Users and managers can be notified when potential issues arise and can immediately analyze further to get the right insights and take data-driven actions. Let's try to understand with the help of a few use cases. Let's suppose the manager wants to keep an eye on the monthly loss ratio. Now, what he can do is he can create an alert on the loss ratio for current month and set a threshold, let's say 80%. This will notify him whenever the loss ratio goes above the predefined threshold, which was 80%. Let's take another example. A sales manager wants to monitor the weekly sales performance against the planned target. Now, he can easily set an alert that will inform him whenever the planned sales target has met. In case the targets aren't met, he can use the information and work on various techniques to reach the set target and make as much profit as possible. So far, we have discussed that Qlik alerting helps you stay on top of your business by notifying you of the important changes in your data so you can act fast. It provides intelligent alerting for Qlik Sense, helping people know where to look for issues or opportunities. You can create powerful data-driven alerts with advanced calculations that helps you proactively identify outliers and anomalies. Alert criteria can include standard calculations, comparisons, percentage changes over time, and much more. The unique drill into, let's move towards the demonstration, and I will explain what Qlik alerts do. All right. In front of you, you can see there is a dashboard. It's the same dashboard that we had been using for storytelling for minimizing the loss ratio for third party. You can see some similar visualizations. What you have to do is simply right click on an object or a chart, or it can be your KPI as well. As you can see, there is an alerts option. You'll simply click the alert option and you will be coming towards this a tab where it will be asking you to create new alerts. You'll click on it and it will take you to a detailed sheet where you will be inputting your criteria. The first is the title. You can choose any title you want. Let's just rename it to Alert 1. You can write a description if you want. Scrolling down, you can see that it has given you the options for adding measures. Right now, for the chart objects we were using, we have gross written premium and claims paid. You can add more through this button that says add additional measures. You can add as many as you want or according to the alert that you're trying to set. You can select a dimension over here as well. Here's a list of dimensions if you're going to click on it, and you can choose whatever dimension that you want. Scrolling down, here's a data preview for you. This data preview is practically what your chart object represents at the moment. If you click to the next, it will take you to conditions. This is the page where you will be inputting all your criteria, right? So the condition could be done by your measurement, your measures or dimensions. You have a list of measures. You can select any one. Then you have an operator. It's greater than, less than, equals to, and starts with, end with, or includes. You can choose whatever that suits you. Then you can compare it with a value or another measure, or you can set a field according to your need. You can set a threshold over here. Let's say if I have selected a value, I'll be inputting any value. This is just an example. You can also use this additional condition button. You can add another criteria if you have a certain alert in mind. Right now, we'll just work with one condition. Below is the preview, again, of the data that the chart object currently holds. You'll click next, and it will take you to the distribution page. You can schedule your alert. You can select when the alert is supposed to be, work, when the data is refreshed on a daily basis, weekly basis, or a monthly basis. You can also snooze your notifications just like you snooze your alarms. You can either take the off option, or you can, snooze this for the rest of the hour or the day, week, or month. It's totally up to you. And you can check this box if you have to share the alert with other users, not just with yourself. Let's just uncheck this. We'll keep the alert as simple as possible for now. And you'll simply click on the create button. And on the notification panel, you can simply see that the alert has been created. And every time your condition or the criteria that you have previously set on the alerts will meet, it will be notified on this notification panel. So let's move forward. This series of webinar that we held over a 3-month period was all about Qlik Sense. But that is not all that Qlik offers. Qlik is not just a data analytics platform. It has grown big and has been offering data integration solutions as well for quite some time now. The data integration solution enables automation of acquisition and building up data pipelines to deliver quality data to analytic platforms for consumption by the business users. In data integration platform, there are multiple solutions for various types of data integration challenges. We have Qlik Replicate that enables change data capture, CDC, thereby enabling real-time data to analytic. Then we have Qlik Compose that provides automation of data warehouse and data lakes. We also have Data Catalyst, Qlik Data Catalyst that provides a single place for all the business users to shop data at conceptual level, hiding all the technical details of where the data comes from, how is it transformed, and etc. You as a business user can browse the tables, select the relevant tables you require for the analysis while being ensured that the data will be up to date. Then Qlik also has Qlik Gold Client. It is an SAP specific solution for data management. And it also offers Qlik Enterprise Manager that provides data pipeline management in a visual manner. For data analytics platform, Qlik offers Qlik Sense. It is a modern AI-powered and self-service BI platform. Our webinars were based on Qlik Sense. Qlik View, it is the first generation of BI tool for Qlik. Then it also has Qlik Imprinting. With Qlik Imprinting, you can create static reports from your Qlik View and Qlik Sense applications and distribute them automatically over emails to multiple number of recipients. This is it for today. We are done with the final session of our webinar series. I hope you found the session fruitful and informative. We will be opening the QA session now. Please feel free to bring in your queries if you have any. Sohaib and I will be addressing them. You can use your chat box. Just write down your questions and we'll come to it. Okay, the certificates will be issued soon, but it is going to take a couple of days. We'll be analyzing through the attendees, whoever has attended all 3 sessions, we'll be awarding certificates as soon as possible. So don't worry about those. Any further questions, anything about the webinar for today's topic, or anything that you might have found confusing in the previous webinars as well, we are here to answer. Okay, will you be holding more webinars about Qlik Sense? Yes, definitely. We will be holding more webinars for business users as well. And if you, we'll be providing you with a poll as well. So you can give us feedbacks or suggestions through emails. You can reach out to us on our LinkedIn pages as well. And you can, suggest topics on which you would like us to speak about. Sure, we have already shared the materials for first and second webinar when they were held, but we will share them with you all. In case anyone has missed on the contents, they can review it later. Okay, since there aren't any further questions, let's begin with the poll. We have a very short feedback form. It must be coming in front of you right now. If it's visible on your screens, please do let us know on the chat box. And there are very short questions. Please rate our topics that we have selected for the series of webinars. You can also rate the delivery of the speakers for this current series of webinar. And in future, we have the concern that not many people, some people, miss out on the webinars. So we want your suggestions upon which months are more suitable for holding webinars. So you can, check any box, and we'll keep in mind the next time we are organizing a series of webinars or any other event like that. We'll give you a minute to rate. All right, we'll be ending the polls. We have the results with us. Thank you so much for taking up time and filling the form for us. It means a lot. With this, we would like to extend our gratitude to all of you for joining us. It had been a pleasure speaking to you about the tools that we work on. We would love hearing from you. Your feedbacks are welcome. Let us know if you would be interested in such webinars in the future, or like us to bring you with more informative sessions just like this one. You can reach out to us through emails or on BADRI's website, or you can also contact us through our social media pages. So the certificates, will be issuing them soon, within a couple of days. So with this, good luck. Have a nice day. And thank you so much for joining us.